Ooh, we're live and running. Put the camera down. How do we look? Everything in this picture looks in focus, basically. Can't wear my glasses and detect that because this really screws up my vision, so much so that I have elected to stop wearing my eyeglasses for the most part. In general, the one thing about those glasses that I'm wearing, these ones here, these glasses here, the one thing they do, which I kind of like, is their sunglasses. They get a nice, really dark blue out, even in overcast sky. So I can put them on and actually think, you know, wearing sunglasses is good when you have a face as scary as mine, because I got to walk down the street and doing my rounds and shopping and buying food because, you know, starvation is not a good thing. So, wear the eyeglasses, sunglasses, and, you know, be less apparently Machiavellian, which I'm not, but, you know, I can look that way. But I always walk down the street and smile genially, especially at senior citizens, right? Because sort of one at 62, well, maybe not quite. I don't know, but I can tell you one thing. I'm hobbling along, right? Because my foot situation, which I thought and reported in my last CAMH video, and yeah, that's CAMH, that's me, Charles Ashley McRobert, Health, why name an institution CAMH? That's what the clerk did, basically. Long story. But they named it CAMH. Well, I'm Cam, and it's my health that's at stake here. So fine, I like the name change, folks. I was actually integrated as a psychiatric client of the clerk, and now the CAMH. I had begun to volunteer my services as a volunteer. This is back in the late 90s. And so I had a clerk badge. And when I changed to CAMH, I didn't bother to replace it. I had the clerk badge. And having the clerk badge conferred a kind of special seniority to me. I mean, with that clerk badge, I was able to go to every floor I wanted to at the clerk. Still called the clerk site. And, you know, the fourth floor is the really interesting one. That's where they stick the forensic patients. And, you know, visiting the forensic patient floor is kind of like being in the medical section of the jail that they send you to. Let's say they send you to the Don jail. Well, they have a medical section there. And I spent a fair amount of time at the Don jail at the end of 2012. Enough to get to know some of the prison guards rather well, and we became quite friendly. Prison guards love it when they can deal with a reasonable person, you know, behind those, behind the, what the hell do you call it in a prison? You got the bars, right? What do you call that? It's a sort of a wall made of bars. You got them in prisons all over the place. Security staff are on one side generally, and, you know, the population is on the other, and all of the units are more or less the same, except out in the general population it really sucks. You know, if you're gonna go to jail, get one kind of way to get into medical, like, you know, fall around and wither on the floor and say, "I'm dying, man, I got convulsions," and they'll stick you in medical because they'll be scared to put you in the general population. I've had enough jail time experience to relate to all of this because I've had all of these experiences. Jailbird, prison, criminal offenses, sentenced. I got sentenced for the fact that when the cops came to bust me in 2012, I discovered, man, this guy's got a lot of weed on hand. And there's a whole bunch of them. And they arrest me, and I'm like, hey man, it's like mid-December, you can't arrest me in shorts. I ain't got no undies on. I got to put some clothes on. Now we're going to take you like you are. You're going to do it the hard way. You know, you should have asked for the easy way. And I'm thinking to myself in retrospect, yeah, they probably would have written me a citation and notice to appear, and that would have been it. They would have confiscated the weed, but my Saturday night or whatever it was would have been otherwise unimpaired. So that was that, relating prison and strategies on how to cope with prison. Don't go for something like PC, thinking, hey, they must have a special place for progressive conservatives, because no, that's protective custody. And that can work two ways, man. You can be put into a cell with, say, 2 other guys in protective custody, and they're there for 2 reasons. They're there because they're real sweeties, so they don't want them in the population, because, you know, too many fights over the sweeties. Or these guys are so damn mean that they dare not put them in the general population because a riot will ensue. These guys will come in and just take over. No, they want protective custody. They get a cell where generally 2 or 3 people. I've been in that situation too. I got news for you. I have both. The sweethearts and the guys that are so dangerous that they dare not put them with the general population. They put them in PC. And I got stuck in a cell with 2 of those guys, and let me tell you something, man, it was rough. That was in 2012. I was having convulsions. The guys didn't particularly appreciate the fact that I was going round, 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 banging my head against the concrete wall, and they're like, you shut the whatever up or I'm gonna squeeze the life out of you. And I'm there, hey man, can't do anything about it, really sorry, squeeze away. At which point the guy, a really mean, overweight, nasty, nasty piece of work guy, just gets up and says, guard, get rid of this guy, he's nuts. At which point I got taken out of PC, which is like, great, take me anywhere but here. And stick me in isolation, which is basically floors down, and it's a garage outside, you know, basically just a few degrees above freezing. And I'm put into this ridiculously horrifying cell. The walls are all made out of wood. The lights are on all the time. There's nothing there except a toilet that you can't flush. You got to go, excuse me, sir, Mr. Guard, could you flush that toilet for me, please? There's a lot of stuff in there that I have no idea where it came from, but I'd like a clean slate as far as the toilet goes. That's the kind of thing. If you're in isolation, you're in the worst possible place. But I came in there and I said, hey, I got the space all to myself. Bliss. And there was also a lot of old shirts, you know, the orange shirts, and there was a whole bunch of them, and they were a bit wet, but I said, man, it's freezing down here. I don't care where the provenance of these shirts, man, on they go. Yellow orange jumper goes down, 4 soggy, smelly, dirty shirts are on. Just gotta get the warm core temperature up, man. So I had all of these shirts because I spent a while in the hole, but not long. Within a couple of days, it was Christmas, and they come, the do-gooders, and they give me this little Bible, which is a thrill to have, and a chocolate bar, and I'm so grateful. Oh, thank you for these gifts. And I'm not big on receiving gifts, so like any gift will do, but a Bible, small little Bible, which they didn't let me keep, which I thought was nonsense. Hey man, this was a Christmas gift given me on Christmas Day. But the one thing that came out of this experience is a guy who's guarding me says, and we've been kind of interacting a bit, and he says, you know what, I'm looking at your paperwork here. You were supposed to go to medical. That was a recommendation of the Crown. I don't know how you got stuck here and there, but I'm going to bring you up to medical, which I was brought to medical, So I have that experience. That's the one where I got all friendly with the prison guards, and one of them was female. And there were some real nutters in medical. But that's a story for another day. All I can tell you is you're sitting down, chowing down, and some small little runt of a freak comes and grabs your bread, let him have it. You don't feel like eating the bread anyway. Take it, take it, take it. Don't touch any of this stuff. I put my goober over all of it. You don't want it. I'm full of diseases. Story of the day. Yes, those excuse me, those factors that were contributory to my developing a series of ailments now due to misfortune way back when, right? Because this problem started in December and became so severe in February that I said, whoa, my legs are purple, I gotta do something here. What's going on? And then the whole circus ride began, discovering, well, it's a staph strep infection. This is complicated because you've got opportunistic wound sites, and this is one of the things one of the doctors mentioned. You could have been done with this problem a long time ago if you had merely taken our advice. And I said, no, the antibiotics weren't working, man. It was a pointless experience. Thinking to myself, I can take this in pill form, I'll do this at home, only to discover later down the line, no. You really belong in a hospital or have a drip installed in your home and hire a nurse or do whatever, but you really should be taking antibiotics as a drip. You know, hook up the thing and stick it in your arm. And I've got whole scar areas here, discoloration of the skin from where they had all of these damn needles injected in me. And that's the thing about IV. Care less about the needles, I'm really not afraid, but man, they're messing me up in another way. But as it turns out, I'm messing myself up as well because I'm discharging myself early. I don't want to be in this loony bin anymore. I'm much happier at home where I can do my own thing, listen to music, and otherwise, if I want, let my freak flag fly, and I won't be wearing these jeans. I'll just be wearing my underwear because I like to walk around in my undies. Sure saves on the laundry bill, I'll tell you. I can hand wash all of my clothes, right? So here I am. Now, I'm doing this video here to serve as an explanatory purpose to what I think should be a clarification of my reflection that I had been back from the brink. Well, I'd have to go and watch it again, but it's probably true, you know, that I was really doing badly and then it got better. Well, the sad reality is I have to confront the facts that my ulcers, which are these things, it's really touchy. So I've treated it like everything else. I've been doing the dressings twice a day, so I have a really good look at these ulcers as I'm doing the wounds. I'm a bit concerned because when I did it last night, I discovered I've had compression bandages on my calves here for so long that it's really kind of messing up the skin. The skin is looking terrible, and you know, I'm a little bit concerned about the way the skin on certain parts of the leg, well, I'm not so pleased. So when I was doing the bandaging last night, I minimalized it, if I can use a term like that. So, well, this one's still pretty big. This one has two ulcers, and they're right in the back here. They're quite large and they're perilously close. Now the concern is, say I were to be a slovenly person and not specifically good at wound care, because I'm quite expert at it. So, you know, the guy's not able to handle the wound care. The nurse comes twice a week to do the bandages, but that's insufficient. You know, I'm doing it twice a day, and I'm using liberal amounts of specialized medicated product. Mine of choice is polysporin. The stuff's expensive, but spend the money. Go into debt if you have to, but make sure you stay on top of things. And I looked at them, well, there's this product here and that product there, and willy-nilly, you're doing kind of the same thing. This is kind of like a product for diabetes, so you can wear support stockings. Discovered that was not necessarily the thing to do, modifying everything along the way. Long and short of it is I'm looking at the wounds last night when I'm redoing the bandages, and I'm saying, man, this ain't pretty. This is not getting better. This is quite yucky, actually. The old bandages that I'm taking them off, ugh, get rid of that, man. It's not to be described. What the hell does that mean, not to be described? How the hell should I know? I'm banana boat material. The other thing I did, which is, I'm sure I did it in the other one as well, is I remembered, oh, you know, you've got this clonazepam. You've got vast quantities of this stuff. And avail yourself, which I did, you know, at about 2 in the morning. Took double my prescribed dosage, which is really no big deal. It was 2 milligrams, and I think that's going to be de rigueur what I'm going to proceed with as a dosage. And I'm just going to get back in the habit taking the clonazepam. It does work. So I got about 4, maybe 5 hours. Let's call it 4 hours of sleep last night, or, you know, this morning. So things are good. And actually, the way that I put the bandages in this minimalist fashion, so there's a lot of exposed skin, all the better, right? Minimize the bandage area, which is going to be my next strategy. I use a variety of things now. I've evolved everything, but you can see there's a bandage that comes around here. This is a gauze strip, and I use these as surface covering bandages. Now, when I treat this particular ulcer here, I irrigate the wound quite a lot with something like this, which is a medicated spray, and basically it sterilizes the area and irrigates the wound, and you got to do that. So I'm using this stuff out the yin. Come on, man, pumping me, get in there, get in there. And then when that's done, and I'm satisfied that I flooded the area enough with this yummy medicated goo, and I got bottles of this stuff. So I'm using it like it's going out of style. Maybe I should take this spritzer off and just liberally pour it on. Who can say? Maybe I'll try that. Because I really like to get a lot of fluid into these wounds as I'm doing the new dressing. That's the other thing is, skin is good. In fact, when I look at my legs this morning, this is, you know, something that, if you can see it, that's going to be a while in healing. And there's a story here. Is I've done some research on skin ulcers. This is my body attacking itself, which puts me into a class of ailments that includes, say, lupus, multiple sclerosis, which is interesting because I've had relationships with women who've had lupus, and Fran died of multiple sclerosis at the age of 15 back in 2016. I was reflecting on it the other day. She did live 50 years, not bad. Her dying pictures where she's in the bed, you know, setting a peace flag. I wish I had never seen that picture because boy, did she look bad. But, you know, she got 50 years. She died of multiple sclerosis, creeping paralysis, body attacks the nervous system, depletes the myelin sheath, nervous system goes haywire. That is a cruel illness, and also very debilitating. An illness like lupus, where literally the body is attacking itself. And that just doesn't limit to, say, the skin or the ulcers that I'm experiencing. I don't have lupus, nor do I have multiple sclerosis, but I'm suffering from an illness which has these commonalities, which is the body starts to attack itself. And small revelation, I've got 3 major ulcer sites on my calves. 1 on this leg, 2 on that. But I've also got ulcer sites on other parts of my body, and I'm just thinking to myself, you know, I may need to get one of those Man of La Mancha disguises if I get an ulcer on my face, which is a possibility because I've got them on other parts of my body now. And this is serious because I've doubled the count of ulcers within the past week, and I can feel the ulcer sites emerging, and it doesn't matter how they emerge. They end up being an ulcerated type site or a aggravated wound that resembles an ulcer, but it came about by different circumstances, but it doesn't matter because it ends up looking like a skin ulcer, you know, in any case. So I did some research. Body attacks the body. What's the deal? I did a lot of reading on that over the past few days. And, you know, the irony doesn't escape me because I'm thinking to myself all along as I'm lying down on my bed doing all kinds of whacked out foot exercises, which I do. My feet have never been better, by the way. They are amazing, in fact. You know, all the toes wiggling, and they look lovely. Never have they done so well. Take care of your feet. You better watch out what you eat. You better take care of your life because no one else will. Wise words from the Beach Boys. Good song. Take care of your feet. They weren't kidding around, man. Take care of your feet. Seriously. I am doing these YouTube videos. I get nothing out of it except the pleasure of edification of, well, I'll be dead soon, but these videos will be alive and kicking. So in this series of CAMH videos that I may make now, and I am making them for one special person, and she knows who she is. Très bien, je n'annonce pas, because it's none of your business, man. But this one person wants to know, wants to be kept up to date, is frustrated. Calls me up on the phone. Still alive? Yeah, I'm still alive, man. Alive and kicking, like the Simple Minds song. Alive and kicking. But seriously, speed your love to me. On a Saturday night, we'll play Elton John's Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, and I've got a YouTube video for both of these songs, which I made in 2012, and they're both special, especially the Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting video. So go and check it out on my YouTube channel. Hey, gotta promote the thing every now and then, right? What am I doing that time? Oh, 23 at 30 minutes, I get the cutoff, so what am I pontificating about? Well, this is basically CAMH, mental illness, physical ailments, complications, externalities. Well, the big one, of course, is sleep. And I have to admit, these injuries are sharp and painful. And there's no getting around the pain. It's gonna be there. It may not be there all the time. You may get a bit of respite when it goes down to 4 or 5, and it's like, oh, I can handle 4 or 5 easily. But then, boom, you're up around 9 or 10, and you're thinking, oh no, I got to do something about this because 9 or 10 is going to really, really mess me up. And I've been dealing with extended periods of time where I've been fighting with my legs and rubbing them and doing all kinds of things. This got to work. To reduce the pain, which is up around 9 or 10, and I'm like, jeez, come on, God, kill me now, I'm dying, take me, never does. And the one other observation, throw it in willy-nilly. If this were a physics lecture, I'd be fired on the spot. Too disorganized in your presentation. Not explaining Hamiltonian. You can't just write the equation and let the kids figure it out for themselves. You got to explain that equation to them. So here I am, totally whacked, generally speaking, because of the lack of sleep thing. It really does get to you after a while. And I'm reflecting on that, thinking, you know, I must be in the record books, you know, many times over, because I've had such extended periods of insomnia in my life. And I'm coming off of one of them that started in mid-September with a burst of mania and the beginning of this roller coaster ride into a situation where my body is eating itself in a most unpleasant way. Which is serious stuff. So much so that, you know, everything's gone out the window. I hadn't checked my email in a week. What a disaster, clearing all those messages. I would never read this. Got to make a new rule for, you know, live mail. Send all these messages to trash. Do it at work. Keep the inbox sacred. To remind me of things that I need to do. One of them is renew my prescription to these people, the American Wireless Association. I do rely on them, and I'm reading through this latest issue, and it's saying, don't forget to resubscribe, and I haven't in a while, so they're sending me annual freebies to say, come on, Joy, keep your membership active, we miss you. And this one's loaded with stuff, but I'm reading through it, and the one thing it talks about is silver mica disease. And this is an inside running joke. I'm sure I've mentioned silver mica disease in my electronics videos, but there's a really serious problem with it, and it's been on my mind for years. There's a guy on YouTube named Shango066, and he's really done a thorough analysis on silver mica disease, and he reminds me, holy cow, there's an awful lot of work to do to rebuild an intermediate frequency transformer, to remove the silver mica capacitors, build them out. Unless you're a guy like me and you've been working with this for so long, that, you know, this one's 110 picofarads, this one will be 150, this one will be 60. Poor guy like Shango doesn't have that luxury of the deep knowledge of what the values are for certain intermediate frequency capacitors, tuning transformers, so on and so forth. They're all going to be somewhat different, but within these ranges. And there's a build-out approach to handling to get the exact value of capacitance. And secret, my diversity tuners are all installed with build-out capacity right on the board, because the whole thing gets tuned up the yin-yang, and you don't want to be handling IF transformers. The things are bloody fragile. So, mental health. Well, fragility in here is there as well. And the main consideration I've discovered is to back off on the tight and anaerobic. Keep the anaerobic, loosen up on the tight bit. These compression bandages, no matter what, you're making them too tight. So these ones on here now, overnight, well, yeah, I can sense. This one's fine. Excuse me. But keeping those bandages just tight enough is a very special strategy, and that's the thing. I'm extending extra care now to the final portion of this, which is to say I've got all of the wound dressed and covered, and I put these bandages on basically to hold this in place, this bandage. You can't see it, but it's just there, which covers the whole thing, but I discovered it doesn't stick well enough to leave it alone. I did that for a couple of days, and the things were always fraying, and I was saying, this is no good. Need some masking tape, just wrap it around if I had it, but I've run out. Reminder to self, buy 3 rolls of masking tape. Don't argue, pay the price. You're buying it at the Canadian outlet dollar store. It's cheap to begin with. Just have a lot of masking tape. You can never have too much. 20 seconds left. Sum up. This is an up and down cycle. I may think I'm back from the brink, and I may be back from some brink, but there's another brink waiting. So, Bonjour la visite. See you next time.